During his dictatorship, Hitler created an inner circle of people with whom he mostly surrounded himself with at the Berghof in Obersalzberg. Being close to Hitler meant power. Many people tried everything to gain the dictator's favor, and by so doing, to gain influential positions. It was in such efforts that Hermann Fegelein managed to marry Margarete Grete Braun, the younger sister of Eva Braun, in mid-1944, thereby securing a permanent place in Hitler's inner circle and even becoming his brother-in-law towards the end of the war. As commander of various mounted units, he was responsible for the murder of over 10,000 people in entire regions in occupied Eastern territories. This video will narrate some of the crimes of Hermann Fegelein, his rise in the Nazi Reich, and his fate towards the end of the war. Hermann Fegelein was born on 30th October 1906 in the Bavarian town of Ansbach. As the son of a horse-riding instructor, Fegelein learned to ride at a young age and successfully took part in several tournaments. At one of the competitions, he met the early NSDAP politician Christian Weber, who brought the young Fegelein into the influence of the party and later acted as his benefactor within the National Socialist circles. In 1931, before Hitler officially took power, he, for some reason, joined the SS and was assigned to the SS Reiterstandarten, which was later renamed the SS Reiterstandarten in mid-1934. The opportunistic and ambitious Fegelein rose quickly through the ranks of the SS. After Hitler's rise to command of the SS, he became the standard rider who played a key role in building up the riding school. In 1937, it became the official training center for members of the unit and was the first main horse riding school in Munich after the command of Heinrich Himmler. Fegelein managed to impress Himmler with his skills and became part of his personal staff. He was thus only subordinate to Himmler himself, who was already involved in the concentration camp system at the time, leading to Fegelein's involvement in the camp. After Poland's capitulation, the unit was expanded further and used for the targeted murder of political opponents or non-accepted ethnic groups. In the beginning, Fegelein's unit primarily pursued the Polish elites and was responsible, for example, for the mass shooting of 1,700 people in the Campinos forest west of Warsaw. At this time, Fegelein is said to have enriched himself by stealing the properties of the people he killed. He had a relationship with a Polish woman who became pregnant, but was forced to have an abortion as an affair with a Polish who was a Slav was considered to be illegal under the rights of the Aryan blood. Reinhard Heinrich, a senior officer in the SS, tried several times to take legal action against the commander of the SS Cavalry, but this was prevented by Himmler himself. Rather, Fegelein's unit was given the task of fighting partisans, sometimes depopulating entire villages and killing many innocent civilians as they could for the next few months. The unit sometimes killed without explicit orders and enriched itself with the properties of the victims. On June 22, 1941, the Wehrmacht began Operation Barbarossa and marched into the Soviet Union with about 3.8 million soldiers. Fegelein's unit operated behind the front and was officially responsible for fighting partisans, with most of the victims being innocent civilians of Jewish descent who were systematically murdered. The cavalry mainly camped in the test year zones in what is now Ukraine and Belarus, which were difficult for motorized units to cross. Himmler, according to witnesses, wrongly ordered that all Jewish men and boys over the age of 14 were to be shot, while women and children were to be taken to the swamps and drowned. The area was partially, completely depopulated. Entire villages were razed to the ground, and historians estimated that more than 20,000 people were killed by the unit. After the cleanup in the swamps of Pripyat, he was responsible for various other murders in other areas of the Soviet Union. And by the end of 1941, around 40,000 people had fallen victim to the unit. In the beginning of 1942, Hermann Fegelein was transferred to the Waffen-SS and was involved in battles on the Eastern Front as commander of several units. By the end of 1943, he was seriously wounded and hospitalized for several weeks. Heinrich Himmler then appointed Fegelein, who has now become his darling boy, as the Waffen-SS liaison officer, who then acted as an intermediary between Hitler and Himmler. Fegelein now had regular personal contact with Hitler. At the same time, however, he was known for his heavy drinking and irascible behavior, for which he was reprimanded several times by Himmler himself. He was present at the Führer's headquarters in Wolfschanz when a bomb planted by Klaus Schenk Graf von Stauffenberg exploded on July 20, 1944. Conversely, he was at the other end of the room and was only slightly injured. During this time, the headquarters, in which Fegelein would always have his personal meetings, he met Eva Braun's sister Grete Braun. And the opportunistic person as he is, he saw the best opportunity to gain Hitler's favor through her. Fegelein was considered a womanizer who had several sexual relationships and was not known for committing to one woman. But politically motivated, he and Greta came together and married shortly afterwards on 3rd June 1944, with Hitler, Himmler, and Martin Bormann personally acting as witnesses. Hitler at that time hoped that the marriage would give him a plausible reason to invite his then secret girlfriend Eva Braun to official events. But many contemporary witnesses reported that Eva and Fegelein's relationship went beyond the norm and that the two may have possibly had an affair. In April 1945, the Battle of Berlin raged on. Hitler and his government had been in the bunker, while fierce fighting raged on in the capital, reducing it to rubble. Without Hitler's knowledge, Heinrich Himmler decided to seek for peace. He neither consulted Hitler or any members of the camp. He attempted to negotiate with the Western Allies, but these were rejected and made public. Hitler was furious and relieved him of his post and issued an arrest warrant against the former Reich leader of the SS. Since Himmler could not be arrested for Hitler, who was surrounded in Berlin, Fegelein was brought in to the dictator as a deputy and accused of treason. He had previously been found in civilian clothes and drunk in his apartment with large sums of money in different currencies, which was interpreted to his disadvantage in this case. It was alleged that he was planning to escape to Sweden or Switzerland before he got arrested. Hermann Fegelein was shot by SS men on 28 April 1945. Although the execution procedure is disputed today, according to several witness statements, he was sentenced to death personally by Hitler, who thereby acted against the will of Eva Braun, as her sister Grete was heavily pregnant at the time. In another version, Fegelein was merely demoted by the dictator and sent to the Battle of Berlin. But then, without Hitler's knowledge, he was shot by one of his subordinates. Historians describe Hermann Fegelein as a cold-blooded opportunist who showed no desire to make a career within the Nazi regime, but only gained great influence through his closeness to Himmler and Hitler. Contemporary witnesses described him as one of the most disgusting people in Hitler's inner circle, who was known for excessive alcohol consumption, sex affairs, and personal enrichment. Fegelein was a serious war criminal, but never had to answer in court for the tens of thousands of murders.